And therefore from that time onwards, Hansel and Gretel lived happily forever. Lily closed the book and a smile appeared on her face. A nice story, right? And there was a choir of agreement. As Lily put the book below on the ground and tried to get up, Abby the deer bent down and sniffed the book, but Lily hastily picked up the book and back-ended Abby with a glare. "Okay now everybody," Lily cried, gathering all the creatures. "I should be off by now before anyone comes looking for me." By E. Lily was 11 and she was God-gifted with the powers of talking to woodland animals, and since she had shifted to the countryside from the city, the animals had been good friends of her. She was a lonely kid whose mother had died with giving away no siblings, and now she lived all alone with her father, who was a blacksmith and went off early in the morning for work. And today, Lily's friends, the birds, gave her a flower crown as her birthday present, and in return, she read them one of her favorite stories, and now she ran back home, knowing that her father would be home for lunch. The flower crown made her look like a small fairy flying through her kingdom, while the trees beside the pathway smiled and waved as she ran. Reaching home, she was startled to see a girl, exactly her age, sitting with a man while her dad was handing them tea. Seeing Lily enter, he said, "There you are. This is my girl, Lily, and Lily, this is Mr. Simpson with his daughter Alexa. They will be renting our upper portion." And Lily looked at the rentals, a well-dressed man while her daughter was wearing a balaclava. She didn't like her from the sight as she looked pale and seemed like that she could faint any minute, but the arrogance on her face gave her face characteristics of a witch. "Lily, my girl, please take Alexa out to play with you in the forest." And looking at Alexa, he added, "She loves to paint, and that's why they are getting a place in the countryside so she can draw the forest." At this, she interrupted by saying, "It's just hobby, but I know no one can paint better. What a stunning flower crown." She had finally noticed it on her head. "You mind showing it to me?" Lily hesitated, but then looking at her father, she slowly handed it to her. She put it on her head and said, "Oh, how lovely I look, it's just like the way I elegantly mix colors. You surely won't mind me wearing it for some time?" And Lily shook her head. After an hour or so, when the agreement was done, they stood to leave. Lily rushed as they went for the door. "You mind if I take my crown back?" "Oh, we were almost forgetting that," Alexa's father said, and he took the crown off and handed it back, while Alexa stood with a deadly stare at Lily, for she thought that the crown fit her looks very much. But saying one last friendly goodbye, Mr. Simpson led Alexa out of the door. Lily sat quietly, when finally Husky the rabbit asked in his small voice, "I thought you'd be happy to have someone live in the upper portion." "I would, Husky, but the family doesn't look like the one with peace, specifically the girl Alexa. She loves to paint and I would have to show her the forest and stay with her until she finishes, but how would I come around with you guys?" And at this everyone seemed lost. Soon the family moved in and Lily hated it already due to their attitude and the girls' moody behavior. The next day as she made way to the forest, she heard Alexa come right in front of her and said, "If you are going somewhere then you mustn't, as now you will take me to the forest?" "Very well, I was already going there, so follow up behind." Lily turned and started her way, and behind heard Alexa curse her dot as Alexa found a place to draw in the forest. After an hour's research, Lily walked away. Alexa quickly looked at her leave, for she wanted her to stay at her guard. Picking up her paints, she rushed up behind her. Pombo the guinea pig was roaming around, and seeing Lily he jumped at her feet and cried, "How you doin'? I've been really hungry. Got something for me?" he asked cheerfully, but Lily headed him, "You need to be careful. I have someone with me, she might hear." "Oh, is she the one with you?" asked Pombo, looing beside in her. Lily turned freaked out and turned, and there stood Alexa with her mouth open. "Aha! I was right. You are a witch," screamed Alexa. Pombo had already run off his way while Lily stood, stupefied. "Listen, Dot." Lily tried to go off to her, but she screamed and cried, "Wait till I tell everyone. I don't want to be around a witch. I'll catch up that pig and show your black side." "Oh, I don't think that would be that easy, young lady," Doyle the owl said, sitting right above her. Again Alexa let out an ear-slurping scream. "You will take me and use me for your wicked experiments." "No. I would go tell everyone about you." She turned but froze as right behind her stood all the woodland creatures in a group. "Oh, but we won't let our secret out so easily," said Pombo, and at the top of his voice screamed, Alexa ran blindly and crashed straight into a tree and fainted straight away. When she opened her eyes, she stood the angry face of her father looking down at her and saw Lily standing with her father, and without thinking she screamed, "Which she a wit dash." "Shut up," her father interrupted angrily. "Why did I even trust you? I thought letting you out by Lily you won't go roaming in the forest alone, but you did. And then you come home fainting after crashing in that tree and dressing your face in that horrible painting. Now don't dare tell me that you saw something magical in the forest. What face mask are you talking about?" Without further interrogation she got up, and went in front of the mirror, and saw her face covered in disgusting colors which made her look horrible. "So whatever I saw was not real, no it must be true," she whispered to herself. "You got lost in the forest, and then you came back screaming and crashed into a tree, and I came running and brought you home," Lily explained with her fingers crossed. "I think countryside life is not suitable life for you." "Yes. And now you are coming back with me," her father replied in his angry mood. Soon the family was gone and her father joked with Lily, "Weird kid. I guess I should hope to find magical things in the forest, ha ha ha," while Lily winked on his back.